So, so yeah, I go, once every 2 weeks. I go into the cancer place and get like a 30-minute little sit and drip. And that medicine it's instead of chemo proper, it's another kind of medicine, but it's kind of like putting the brakes on the tumor, right? So, okay, okay. So when I found out, I I had to go uh, and tell everybody, in the Bell group, in the Bell world, that I was going to have to retire from fighting, you know, because, and this is why, like I wasn't hiding it, but yeah, but then one of my buddies that I'd met, about 10 years prior, he lives up in Michigan. He and I would see each other about twice a year at the Tennessee events, Um, and he hits me up and he's like, "Hey man, have you ever heard of Rick Simpson oil?" And I was like, "No, what's that?" And he's like, "It's basically a hardcore fucking like alchemy deal. It's like he's like he's like up here where I live, like we can grow our own wheat and it's okay." And so, I've got a big grow, and he's like, after we trim all our plants, we take the stalks, right? And we grind those up, and somehow they mix that with pure grain alcohol and cook it somehow, um, and it turns into this hard paste, right? But it extracts the rest of the CBD and the I suddenly can't think of all, anyway, all the good weedy chemicals that are right. But yeah, the CBD and but the other thing that actually gets you high, I just suddenly can't think of the chemical terms. But anyway, it pulls all that out and it turns it into this paste, right? And then from that, then you mix it with a coconut oil, or the one I get is MCT oil, right, which is pulled from coconut oil. You want something that's high fatty, because this stuff, I mean, it's the whole take with food thing. It's because it'll attach to that and you'll have a greater effect. But so, like, I take that. Well, I put them in little capsules. I fill little plastic capsules because once you mix it with the oil, it becomes mostly liquidy. And yeah, I get like a little oral syringe, just one without a needle, and just fill, 10 or 15 pills at a time, and just take one a day. And the stuff is super duper strong, though. So, like, I had to, like, you can't just start taking it at the strength I'm taking because it'll put you down. Like, I had to titrate up, you know. But between that and the the drips that I'm getting, once I started taking RSO, because I was really going downhill fast, and at one point I'd asked the doc, I was like, "Hey, let's just be real. How long do I have? Because I've got to get my affairs in order, whatever, And he was like, a year and a half at best, and that was almost 3 years ago. So I mean, I'm already past, my shelf date, and at that time I had two new tumors that had started, plus I had part of the original one that they couldn't take out because I might have lost speech if they'd cut my brain wrong. So about 2 to 3 months after starting taking the RSO, the two tumors, one of them shrank completely away, and the other one shrank down so little that it didn't matter, and over time it did disappear. Yeah, and my main tumor is, it's kind of fluctuated, but it's on a shrinking mode right now. Like, it shrank almost 10% in the last 3 months. So, that's good. And, you know, I get to live the dream of sitting at home playing video games all day. Right? I mean, it's my social security. It's not like I didn't put the money in. You know? Nice. I mean, I would absolutely, if I had more money, I would also fucking be ripping bong hits all day too. Because, I mean, the stuff, if I make a full pill, uh, and I eat, I'll get pretty high. Sometimes I get too high and like I have to go lay down, or like I get so high that like I get the spins and like I have to go and puke. Um, hmm Yep. Yeah, I was in the Navy. hmm It's it's not a bad path. It's really not. As much as people say, well, right, right, and that is just it. And I tell so many people that you know, and it's going to sound bad the way that I say this, but I would love to see all of our kids have to join the military, right? But not because I think all the kids should join the military, but holy shit, just the things I learned about myself in boot camp, right? It changed me. I understood punctuality. I understood dressing in clothes that fit right. I understood taking care of myself. It's things like that, right? Not like I think everybody should. Yeah, and you just I learned very early on. I mean, when I joined, I was 22, uh, almost 23. So I mean, I was one of the old guys, if you will, right? Um, Not the oldest, but one of the older guys. But I mean, I just learned very quickly. This is a game, and it has very hard rules. And as long as you understand the rules and play by the rules, you will win the game. It's just that simple. And yeah, your body is gonna fucking hate it for a while, but it doesn't take long, man, and you start getting fit. And a lot of that doesn't hurt as bad. Um, but I mean, yeah, dude, that and then yeah, try to get into a job that you would not mind doing in the real world, right? In civilian world. I mean, that's the whole trick. If you want to go in, right? Let's say whatever. Let's say you're interested in avionics, right? Airplane avionics stuff, right? Then you would want to go in and try to go in as an AT, an aviation. Uh, AEs were the aviation electricians, ATs were avionics, radar and shit like that, right? Versus, but anyway, um, or if you wanted to get into like the nuclear field, then, get into their nuclear program. Just don't take the extra bajillion dollars that they offer you to stay because sooner or later you will break and you'll have to pay that shit back. Um, but I mean, yeah, whatever your, branch of the military you go into, yeah. I mean, it, I don't know. I was in the Navy, right? So I couldn't tell you about, much about the Marines or the Army or Air Force outside of I was in aviation in Navy, so I can tell you a little bit about Marines if it was aviation because it's basically the same shit. You know, I was I no, I never ran into any Coast Guard folks, um, but like I said, I was in aviation, right? So um, whenever I was on sea duty, I would go to my first command was VFA 115, which is the F-18 squadron, and then after you do so much time, on sea duty, they rotate you to shore duty, where you don't go out to a boat, don't go to sea or whatever. And so I went to a schoolhouse up in Whidbey Island, Washington. But I mean, I was always in aviation. This point, based on my job, right? So I don't know. I forgot where I was going with that. I'm kind of high. Right? Or maybe. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. I get you. I wish I could have had the money at the time to really get in on it. I mean, I couldn't have gotten in on it here because we're still only medicinal in Arkansas. But I mean, I live like literally the end of my street is state line, and across this is Oklahoma. And think I think they're still medicinal, but I think they're pushing for recreational. And if that's the case, then I'll just be able to walk down at the end of my street and just buy from them and come back. But that's Arkansas. Oh, for sure. So, dude, the town I live in, right? It's called Siloam Springs. For years and years, it was in the Guinness Book of World Records for most churches per square mile. Oh, dude, so hard. Um, dude, dude, just outside the old city limits, coming in from east, so driving west into town from the east, there was on somebody's personal property. They put up their own billboard, painted it white, and then big old black letters said, "Welcome to Siloam Springs, where Jesus is Lord." Now, to match that, the sign on the other side of town let everyone know that it was also a sundown town, which they were very proud of. Uh, so I don't know if you're familiar with what that is. A sundown town, yeah, which is good that you don't. But uh, back in the old days, where racism was still hard in the South, a sundown town was one of those towns where if you were not white, you weren't. You better not be in town after sundown. Yeah. So hard for Jesus, but also hard for white Jesus. So that's nah. It's mostly in the past. I would be willing to bet that there are probably some areas in the South, probably even in this state, where it's still like that, but probably places that are really deep into the sticks. You know. Mm, yeah. To be honest, I don't know a whole lot. I mean, as much as the average person would probably know. But yeah, I just Mm, okay. Yeah, and I don't get it. I, well, and that's just it. I mean, we're all human. Believe what you want to believe, and that's fine. Right. I don't know. I just be what you want to be who you want to be, and just let me be happy. How about that? That's all I want. I think. Okay. Uh, get this up. But yeah, so definitely. I mean, I would look into it though. Military. The only worry I have right now is I'm not a terrible fan of our upcoming president. And I don't know that that's the guy I would trust to make the proper military decisions. You know, Beyond anything else, I mean, it's not about, oh, he's crazy or whatever. Just, I don't trust him with our military, and I don't trust some of the decisions he's going to make. And I worry that it's going to put us in harm's way. And I don't know. I'm trying not to discourage you. Well, yeah, no, I mean, that's just it. I mean, at the end of the day, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world. I just think that uh, I think it's going to be an unpleasant next few years. Right. That is true. That is very true. There are so many people in this country, hell, in my hometown, that have never, left the country, or at the very least, even maybe their county, you know, and they've no idea what life is like, you know, outside of your pretty little corner, which, I mean, where we live, it is nice. It is pretty. There's a lot of that Walmart money here. I mean, home office for Walmart is right here, 30 minutes away. And then we've got the University of Arkansas 30 minutes the other way. So, I mean, there's money here. So we have a pretty little southern, area. But yeah, I mean, drive a state away, man, and you realize small towns do not look like our small towns. First of all, I would, I would, hmm Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I would highly recommend, if you have the opportunity, to take a nice little road trip. If you have a car that you can take, and in the summer or whenever, and just go somewhere. You don't have to drive like to Maine, right? But um, head west, man, and um, hit the coastal highway and go north on that. That's such a beautiful drive, man. I mean, to get from where, I mean, mm, oh, for sure. Um, I was twice. I was stationed in Lemoore, which is about 40 minutes, I think, south of Fresno. So I mean, like we were like literally in the middle, like of nowhere, but also like in the middle of everywhere, because like everywhere was a day trip away, you know. And so yeah, but also shore duty. I was up in Puget Sound. I was up in Whidbey Island, Washington, which is about as far north as you can go without having to say a, you know. Like we to get back onto the mainland, if you turn left, basically north, and drove for about another 40 minutes, you were in Canada. Like that's like how far north we were, man. But that was a super nice area. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but it turned out to be a really great place. Hmm? They were all right. Um, the people on the island, at least in the town where I lived in Oak Harbor, a lot of those were Navy retirees because I mean it's a Navy town, you know, and or some of the original Dutch people that had settled there however many generations ago. But they were super nice. But in Oak Harbor itself, we called them the Dutch Mafia. This is the Dutch people that had settled there and continued to stay in elected power. I'm not saying it was taken, but I mean they ran the town. Um, and so like they didn't let most chain businesses inside city limits. So that was a little strange to kind of get used to. But, outside of that, it was really nice because there were so many restaurants that you would go to that, they were all mom and pop owned, you know, and it was great. Um, it was there were three Mexican restaurants in town that I loved, but there was one that was, it was down, if you just went down basically Main Street, only it wasn't Main Street per se, but that would go straight down to the bay. There's this large bay, and there would be a T intersection. If you went right, that was kind of the way out of town and around the bay and continuing south. You know. Oh, I wonder if it's cutting. Oh, a second. All right, I got it plugged in, and I probably need to speak louder as well. It's probably the other problem. I tend to lower my volume when I get stoned, which I'm a little high right now, not terribly, but a little, Yeah. Well, right now I just use the oil, the Rick Simpson oil, just because I don't have money for anything else. But no, I would. I would go with bud, right? I like to smoke. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Nice. I mean, I don't mind a good, yeah, I don't mind a good cart, but yeah, that's a problem around here. Is like I've got a buddy that can go over in Oklahoma and buy like three of them for the price of one of them in Arkansas. But the odds are kind of 50-50. Like, is it actually going to work? You know, if they all work, then hell yeah, it's great. But usually at least one of them doesn't work. Right. Oh, man. Okay. I'm sorry, what? How old am I? I'm fucking, how old am I? 49. Nice. There we go. That, I think that might work. Trying to get this weird outer shape. Oh, no. There we go. Uh, man, that's definitely one of Mino's. That's Mino's game. He tried to get me in on that, but I don't get into the zombie survival stuff. I like the chill stoner survival stuff. You know, um, another buddy of mine got me a copy of Medieval Dynasty for the PS5, and I played that a little bit. That's kind of fun. It took me a while to kind of understand how slow of a game it actually is. Um, and once you understand that, then it's not bad. Um, and it's kind of my favorite kind of game in that you can. Oh, dude, oh, getting sidetracked so hard. Yeah, just okay, I got to go over here and chop trees, and then suddenly you're like, oh look, there's a moose, I'm gonna kill it, and then you start hunting, and then you're like, oh, I've got all this meat, I gotta go cook it. Mm, but it, yeah. So one of the reasons that I do enjoy that game is that's I say I want to say it's that style of game and that excuse me you can you can go into the settings right and make it as hard or as easy as you want it to be, and I really like that, um, because yeah, I don't want to have to deal with like my shit getting raided or whatever, which I mean that's not a deal in that game, but you know um, I turn the damage down and all that because I don't want to, be running around and get killed by a fucking boar because I didn't see it. Like that's not why I'm playing this game. And so I'm glad that I can turn that off, or because I want to be able to stream, I can go in and, turn the experience all the way up, like ridiculously high, and just get everything unlocked super fast so that I can look at it all and then kind of play around with it and get a feel for it. And then from that, be like, okay, now I know what to do. Now let's go play it at a more reasonable rate on a stream. So I like games like that. Mad Games Tycoon 2 is another one of those that I think there's 6 levels of difficulty you can set it to. And on the very easiest, basically I just start the game and you basically have won. It's just so easy. But I mean, you can put it all the way up to legendary, and it's like it becomes a serious like business sim almost, where like you cannot make any mistakes, or it's just game over, man. And so, I like that you can just set your level of difficulty for what you want. You know, I don't know. A lot of games, I will go with the easiest difficulty first because I want to see as much of the game as I can without a struggle, right? Um, and on to go along with that, if it's a game where I have to learn controls, that also helps. Um, but then eventually, yeah, if I'm really enjoying the game or whatever, yeah, I'll start again and crank it up, you know. Or like if it's a game that you can play, which I, I think there's console games that you can mod. I've not really looked into that. I'm kind of new to switching back to console, but on the PC, right, there's plenty of games that you can mod, right? And so like, if I get a game that can be modded, I'll play it as it's built first, before I get any modding, and try to get as much of it done as I want. Oh, excuse me. Hmm. Right. Yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, right. Man, I used to make mods for that Fallout 3, and I think I gave up on 4 because yeah, it just changes. But yeah, man, I used to love to get into the GEC and make stuff. Oh, huh. Wow. I never played that game. I hmm, I played man, I played WoW for so fucking long. I started I didn't start when it released. I started a year after it released, so it was still vanilla. But dude, I bought into that hard for several years. And then, like a fucking battered wife, I kept going back and then quitting and going back and be like, maybe this time it'll be better. And nope. I finally just kind of just gave up. Probably for the best. But yeah. Uh, well, I got started with the forge. Are you watching on the stream? Okay, so you'll be a little behind. So this is the forge. Um, I'll put it in the test mode so you can see. But well, I'll go through it. This I've got to fix. I've got to break all of this down because these were lined up properly earlier, and you would shoot through these, right? But shit, I hate my camera. Anyway, so the forge, right? So the idea is I need to get this hammer thing to move and get it pretty, but you know that's supposed to come down. There'll be a little explosion when it's all set up. Comes up and you'll jet through here. But then the first part is you're going over all the heat. So, you know, we've got, you know, the furnace, if you will, which I've started working on. And then when you come through here, I want, if I can get the big hammer thing, the moving hand thing to work, I want to build an anvil here and have another hammer. Where the idea is on the ride, like the cart, right, is the weapon being made, right? So you're going through the processes. So, like, this is the forge area. And after that, you're going to come through here. I may have some water sprays here, I don't know. But I do have a trigger already in motion here where when you come down and through, sorry, I know I'm like so 15 seconds ahead. But there's a water splash here that'll hit the cart as they come through. So that's the dousing water. And then there's going to be something here. I haven't quite figured out. Maybe a statue or something. I don't know. But then as you come through, there's this corkscrew. And this will be, I want it to be an area where like maybe the weapon is being blessed or something. And you'll come over this where the hot coals are falling down and turning into ash. And so you got a little hot steam here. And then, yeah, you just come around and that's the end of the ride. So, here, we'll get on and do the front bumper. But, I mean, it's a fun ride, though. Mm. Right. There's a lot of time and tricks and training into doing it, and the unfortunate thing is it's the ones that take the longest and most tedious work are the ones that are end up being amazing. Well, yeah, nothing's holding them up right now. I'll, well, yeah, yeah. Once I'm done with all of the decoration, I'll come back through and then I'll choose where the track supports go down. You know, because I mean, yeah, there do need to be track supports, but like depending on what I put, like right out of the start, you go through this little corkscrew thing. I may pull the ground up. I may put a statue in there. I'm not sure. and then based on that, then I'll figure out, you know, a couple of track sports there, you know. So yeah, there will be some, but yeah, I just want all the decoration done first. Um, so I'll give you a little tour of the rest of the area. Um, I don't remember now. I think the original entry might have been kind of the way I'm facing now in this back. I think it might have been over here, maybe. But I deleted it all and placed down three boats in a little lake thing with a, magic cave that it comes in and out of. Um, and so I'll have a guest entrance here, and eventually I'll build my big entry and have the big sign and, welcome to the Ozarks or whatever. And I'll have my information signs and all that put up. But this way will be the way towards the mill area because with that was also a water mill that I'll want to build. But the area where we would go and have these events was right on the Illinois River. And so I think what I'm going to do is have it run kind of diagonally across, not necessarily a river, but I may have something watery, like all my watery stuff may be in that, on that kind of line. Like over here, I plan for this side of the mines and the mountain. Like I enclosed this for now to remind myself that this is where I want water stuff to be, like some swimming, maybe some flumes. But I want to have at least three roller coasters in here, and I want one to kind of run the length of the mountain, back and forth a couple of times. Maybe start up high. Mm. Well, and I really like that they've actually given us letters now to play with. Like I realized I don't have a break sign for when I'm playing on the PlayStation. So I just made a quick one, earlier today. Just hey, break time, back in a few minutes. But so that's neat. I like that. Um, but yeah, so I need to finish getting this back wall filled in because I do want to start figuring out my first coaster and figuring out. I set up different layers here. These are all 40 meters tall. So I've got one, I want to have this front area will be welcoming stuff, but then start going up and start seeing different rides, yada yada. But I need to finish the shell so I can figure out how, where, and why. Mm, dude, our economy, I don't know, man. I just don't know because he, this whole thing about the tariffs, I mean, I get it. I understand the point he's trying to make, but it is not going to be a solution that works uh, overnight, let alone over one term. I mean, because it's going to significantly raise the prices of all of the stuff that's coming in from out of the country, specifically China, which is where we get most of our stuff right now. Uh, and you know, there. Oh, I know. I just. Oh Lord. Ugh. Right. 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 Uh, I'll tell you another thing I am excited for. Season 2 of Severance is coming out. Yeah, on Friday, next Friday. I don't know. I don't think they're putting. I think they're doing an episode a week. I think. I don't know. I'm not really sure how Apple TV does that. Most places are going back to that though. Instead of dropping everything at once, they're going back to that one a week deal. Which I mean, I don't mind honestly, because I mean, it gives you that chance to talk with your friends or your buddies throughout the week about the show, and you can really digest it and really enjoy it. And I like that. Oh man, I haven't seen that in a long time, but yeah. Oh. I never watched the Mayans. Sons was okay. I liked it, but I just um, it's not one I run back to watch. But every now and then my wife does, and so like it'll be on in the background, and I'll half pay attention to it. Um, Shows that I like to put on repeat a lot. A lot of it's comedy stuff. That '70s show, Big Bang Theory. Although we did just binge again. We binged Lost recently. Just finished it actually again. Now she's just started Breaking Bad again. Yeah. Um, there's another one. Oh, Friends, of course. I've not ever watched it. I've watched the pilot. I've watched the pilot twice with like the intention of getting into it, and for whatever reason, I just didn't. You know? Right, right. I've heard it's really good. I've never gotten into it. Um, what about are you a Star Trek fan at all? Star Trek. Hmm. Yeah, I forget also. I mean, there's the significant age difference between you and I. Not everybody has the same, feelings or experiences that I've had. But, I'm down with Harry Potter also, for sure. Did you play Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah. There's not a real big replay value. Yeah, I agree. Like I played each of the four houses just to see the different house quest. It's it's yeah. I I will say though I did enjoy. Oh man, I played the hell out of it. I did. I played the full playthrough on Gryffindor. Um, yeah, I got a in-game 100% complete. So all the whatever the achievements, I forget what they call them. Maybe it's just achievements. But all the stuff in the book, like everything, 100%. Some of it I had to look up online, uh, but very few things. I mean, honestly, most of it was doable. Uh, right. I did enjoy though. I liked the remove requirement and how they set it up to kind of be the player base. You know, I would have liked to have had a little more room or a few more, I don't know, just things to do there. Uh, I heard there was going to be a sequel, then there's not going to be a sequel, and now there's going to be a DLC. I don't know, but I mean, I would be down for more content. Well, well, you're right. No, what they added, right, was it was originally the content that was Sony exclusive. Like if you had the PlayStation version, you had this extra quest, which was to open the store and all that quest line. Um, and then after 1 year, Sony did not renew their exclusivity, and so Portkey Games released all of that to everyone else, to all the other platforms. And so that was the DLC, and then yeah, the photo mode. So and a lot of people are like, "That's the best quest, the one that came with that." And I was like, "Not really. I mean, uh, it was okay. It was something fun to do, but it wasn't the best quest in my opinion." Not really. I mean, I would just go through and do them and just be done with it. I mean, after a while, you kind of figure it out. Mm, let's see here. I think I want our first ride to be on this level. Mm. Is it is it a subscription game? Okay, I wonder I wonder if he has it. I'll have to. I can't look right now because I've got my mouse and keyboard plugged into the PlayStation. But he and I are familyed up on Steam, and so I can see his game list. And you know what? He might have that game. I mean, if he does, he may have videos on the channel. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't watch a lot of his videos because a lot of those are for games that I don't play. But yeah, I mean, his taste in games is very, very niche. I mean, he likes a lot of independent games. He likes a lot of survival builder, kill the horde coming at you kind of stuff. Um, and these odd independent. Hmm? right. Now I have, through him, I have found a handful of games that I have loved. Like Mad Games Tycoon 2 is one of those. Um, and but there's a lot of games that he's turned me on to that I was like, man, I wish I hadn't paid for this. But I mean, at the same time, that's stuff that he loves. So I'm like, well, I can't get mad at you for it, you know. But I I like a good AAA game now and then, but I also do enjoy early access games. Planet Crafter is one of those. I loved Planet Crafter. Right. And oh, I know. I mean, Jesus, how many online fucking editions are you gonna release? Right. Well, and Bethesda seemed that way as well. Like when they first picked up Fallout, and they made Fallout 3, I mean, they were kind of like heroes of like the game design community for what they had done. And to be fair, I mean, it wasn't horrible. It was a little buggy, but you know, you could mod it, and the modding community, created their own fixes, no big deal. And by doing that, they increased the replay value of the game exponentially. Because if you wanted new content, you just go find some because somebody was always making something new that you could just download and put in the game, right? And from that, though, they learned that the community will fix all of the bugs in the game, and that became a crutch. And now, Fallout New Vegas was not made by Bethesda, um, and I don't know if you know that story, but initially, Fallout 1 and 2 were made by uh, I think it's Black Isle, and then later became, I think, Obsidian. And then at some point, they sold the rights to Fallout to Bethesda, right? And right away, Bethesda's like, all right, we're going to make a Fallout MMO. And Obsidian was like, no, you're not. You didn't buy the rights for MMO. You bought the rights for single player. And so that all went to court. And out of that, the agreement was Bethesda had to allow Obsidian uh, to use their game engine and to be able to make their own Fallout game. But Bethesda's kind of bitchy slapback was they were only allowed to have 18 months, which is why New Vegas feels so empty. Is because the base game, there's a lot of just empty spaces with, no people to kill or fight. Because they basically built the base world and went hard on their DLCs. Because those DLCs were amazing, but the base game kind of blew ass. But that was why they only had X amount of time. Um, yeah, yeah. And I enjoyed 4. I I liked the base building idea of 4. I wish it had been a little freer, although with modding it became super fun. Um, and if it wasn't so fucking buggy, I would play it again. Because I mean, I still have it on the PC, but it should just to get it to work now, uh, because the game is just old enough, that, ugh, you know. Anyway, let's see here. All right, roller coaster. I finish shaping this here. Oh, wow. Time is it? 11:30. Okay. I think this actually. I think I'm gonna get out of here actually. Ugh, just close that off. Oh, cool. I like for me, I on Thursdays, and the thing is, when I go for treatments, my treatment days are Thursdays. So every other Thursday, when I'm not at treatment, right, it's the new week for Forza Horizon 5, and so I'll do like my Forza weekly stuff, usually in about 2 to 3 hours. But like I try to stream that. I'm trying to just randomly stream this right now. I'm about ready to start, I think, a medieval dynasty stream. I'm trying to get a routine. I'm not a good streamer. That's the thing, you know. But I want to have a few games that I stream, and then on top of that, then Cliff will have his games that he'll record and drop off. I think he's working on more Fallout stuff. He found a sim like a Sims kind of mod for his settlement stuff that he's been playing through. But anyway, with that, I need to stop. I'm gonna stop my stream.